Hello and welcome to the Healthy Heroes Global Wellness Day live kickoff event. I'm Linda Bendall, the Partnerships Program Director for the Military Homeschoolers Association, and I'm here today with two of our fabulous representatives from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We've got Paul Kingsbury and Amy Vanderhayden. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thanks for
Absolutely. How you doing, Linda?
I'm doing good. I'm doing so good. And I'm so glad that we were able to make this happen. This is a fantastic event, and I am excited to bring it to our military homeschoolers.
Awesome.
So before we dive in and get too deep, what was your guys' favorite memory as a kid for maybe like your field day or fun school days that you had?
Paul, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go first thing? All right. So I always remember for the field days, it was always having the big parachute, right? So the whole class would have this big parachute, right? And we'd all line up in a circle around it.
Yeah.
And there were some variety games, that, and then the other one was kickball. Like that, those two stand out for me as the kind of activities as a kid.
Nice. What about you, Amy?
You know, that was a good memory for me as well with the parachute, and I always put the balls on it and everybody make those balls. That was a great memory, but just all the relay races that you got to do. And it was just it was outside, it was togetherness, it was camaraderie, and it was, competition, which is healthy and fun. And
yes. Oh, absolutely. I think my favorite would be, I don't know if you guys ever did it, but did you guys have to put your head on the baseball bat and then spin around and then try and like run off and get something?
I don't recall that, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
I did some form of that. I think I've done that and I've done that as an adult too. So.
That's so much fun, so much fun. So with military homeschoolers, usually we outsource for PE and resources like that, or usually sports, but we don't usually have like a day-to-day fitness program or anything like that. So I thought maybe a good thing would be to just celebrate health and wellness, and let's have a global health and wellness day for the kids. So that's kind of how the Healthy Heroes program came about. And I am, excited that you guys are willing to kind of sponsor that event and kick it off. So if you guys maybe could tell us a little bit about Blue Cross Blue Shield and what you guys do, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. All right. So like you said, I'm Paul Kingsbury, retired Navy. I did 31 years in the Navy. I retired in 2018. And then I worked for the U.S. Naval Institute for a little bit doing outreach. So I started getting this world of outreach. I was a Navy nuke at the time, right? So I operated nuclear power plants, and then I got into this world. And then COVID came up and kind of shut down all the outreach with the Naval Institute. And I got connected in with this opportunity to run the Uniformed Service Community Relations Program for the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. So got into that. It was a great ride. And then last year we reorganized a little bit. Now I have two ladies that work for me. So now I manage and run the entire federal employee program, community relations program. And then, as you know, Lily, she's my lead for uniformed service community relationships and partnerships. And then Karen Cotton does it for the federal employee and the postal communities as well. So, we have a great time. We're evolving our portfolio. It used to be a lot of going out to conferences. And then as I reflected more on community relations, right? That's what we're about. I found myself aligning our team to making an impact with partners around these impact areas. And we've got 5 of them, right? And they nest nicely with what you've got going on here. So I think that's really valuable for us. So, mental health and wellness is one. Fitness and active living is another one. Health education is one, right? So that's a piece of the partnership. Food programs and nutrition, and then caregiver programs as well. So there's a lot of great organizations doing a lot of great stuff, and unfortunately we had to kind of bring the scope in, but I think it works nicely for us, being in the health insurance or industry, and be able to support military families in those lines of effort.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't see TRICARE, doing any of these type of things for our students or our families even. It's TRICARE
Yep.
is just a beast in itself to try to navigate. But when it comes to educational programs or keeping our kids healthy, I don't see anything from them in terms of getting out into the community and educating our children. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're right, Linda. The TRICARE could do a lot more to help with education, especially with our children and our families for their children. Amy Vanderhayden, I am a Coast Guard veteran myself. We had 2 children while we were active duty, and our children both serve in the military now in the Coast Guard. Today is the Coast Guard's birthday, so we are very happy about that.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
So, having just come from Grand Haven, Michigan, where our Coast Guard is heavily celebrated up there. Blue Cross Blue Shield was just up there, and it was so wonderful. I love this event today that you're doing. The kids were out at camp, and just watching everybody. The camp was outside all day long, and the kids were just thriving, and it was so good to see that. And I think it's so important. I am with Blue Cross Blue Shield because I am very passionate about it. I think they do an amazing job of outreach to the military, with the military, and for the military. So much so that they have a military advisory board. My husband retired as the senior enlisted for the Coast Guard, and so he sits on that board and helps advise, guide, and promote all the goodness that Blue Cross Blue Shield does. And so from that, I get to kind of tag along and help out in great events like this. I've worked with kids a lot. I was a swim instructor, still kind of doing that here and there. I've done many programs throughout his career as we've moved around working with kids in kids programs. So I think it's important. I think it's vital. And getting the information out there today about vision and health is amazing. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you both for your service, and thank you for being here.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So let's go into a little bit about what the program is, what we're doing. So we came up with this fantastic idea to hold the Global Wellness Day, and the day will be October 2nd for everybody out there listening. But we're opening it up to military homeschool leaders for an opportunity to have the event sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And to do that, we're asking for all leaders to write an essay explaining why you think your group would qualify or would be a good candidate to be sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield, and a little bit about yourselves and who you are and where you're at. And then the Military Homeschoolers Association Board, as well as the Blue Cross Blue Shield. That is a mouthful.
It is.
Blue Cross Blue Shield board members will be voting and picking one winner, and the winner will receive $1,500 as the sponsorship to or for the event. So it's fabulous. I'm really excited. This is fantastic that we are able to come together and create something for our students. So if you are interested in registering, oh my goodness, for the event, I can't talk today, registering for the event, go ahead and go here. Let's see if Marissa can throw up the link for us. It's Military Homeschoolers. Hold on. Marissa, do you have that link? Throw up the link for the registration form. You can go ahead and fill it out, and then you can email me the essay at linda.bindall@militaryhomeschoolers.org. Hi, Natalie. Oh, no, we can't hear you.
Camera and technical issues. Hello.
There
everyone.
you are. Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. All right. Let's see.
Did you need a link to put up?
Yeah, I was trying to look for my link I had. I wanted to throw it up
Okay.
for the registration form.
Okay. Oh yeah, Marissa's getting it now, so she's gonna add it.
Perfect. I thought I had it, but I must have
No
lost it.
worries. It helps me have someone do that in your live. So.
Yes, 100%. Okay. So after you register your group and you go ahead and send out your essay, you will receive the Wanna Stay toolkit, and it's packed with all kinds of fun things we came up with, including a checklist, a planning checklist, because it gets kind of hectic to plan big events. We've all been there. And then some social media templates, activity station signage, and bingo cards, and then a wellness journal for the students to track their healthy habits. So all good things. And I know that, Amy, you had mentioned vision and as well as dental. Can you go into a little bit of how you, I guess, what services you guys provide for those?
So with vision, vision is one of my favorites, especially for the active duty folks and their families, because as we talked about, TRICARE does not provide that. So by the time, raising kids, unless the school comes home and says, hey, I've got a problem with my vision, it's not one of those things that's in our forefront of our heads to, we get the doctor's appointments and all that, but vision is always kind of in on the back burner until we need it. And so Blue Cross Blue Shield offers an amazing program for vision for the families, and with screenings, with eyeglasses, with contacts, and great providers, Costco and Sam's Club and Warby Parker and all those great places that everyone has in their backyard to go and get those eyeglasses. But a lot of the times, if you don't get in on that open season, by the time you realize it's too late, and you miss out on those benefits. So the vision is crucial. It's very affordable. I hate to say this, but my husband was active duty for 34 years, and it wasn't until the last 3 years of that I recognized the vision portion that we were entitled to. And so it was a huge deal. And to have that could have had that for our children early on would have been a game changer, I think, just for peace of mind, to know that it was there at a great cost and available to us. And Paul, I'll let you talk about the dental if you'd like.
Yeah. So let me just cap off on vision, because I think for your audience, this is the big piece, right? So I had a young daughter that was in glasses, right? So we know that factually 1 in 4 school-age children require some form of vision care, right? So and we know the impacts, right? So it's hard enough already being a military family, traveling, getting kids acclimated socially to new schools, right? To ensure some kind of standard of education and learning. And then when you throw on top the potential that your young child or your teen has some form of vision issue that they either haven't identified because they've never been screened, or they have identified and you're not aware of the insurance, and it could be cost prohibitive to get those glasses that they need, right? So we are part of what's called FedVIP, the Federal Employees Dental and Vision Insurance Program. So that is the program. It's an OPM covered program, right? This isn't something off to the side. So this is basically, call it TRICARE for vision and dental insurance. And I'll get to the retiree piece in a little bit, but for this audience, I thought it was more important for this one. It's administered by Benefeds, right? So for your audience to get information, it's Benefeds, BENEFEDS.gov, right? So they can get on there. Your sponsor will have to create an account, but to Amy's point, right? I think everyone thinks TRICARE is everything, but it's not, right? So TRICARE will provide some routine exams, but when you get into the comprehensive piece of the glasses, they will only provide glasses for spouses and dependents for very specific high-end medical stuff, right? So if you just need readers, or if you need your child needs glasses, they won't cover that. So a lot of our military families are not aware of this resource. They're spending a lot of money. And some of these glasses can be several $100s for a pair, depending on the needs. So with very low premiums through one of the FedVIP insurers, and we're proud to be one of those, military families can save a lot of money, and they can get those resources needed that their kids may need. So, and then again, for the school piece, it's very important to catch that stuff early, right? So we know that it can affect, your ability to read, your ability to write, your ability to concentrate and learn. It can lead to social issues, right? Because of lack of confidence, right? And academic struggle. We don't want any of that for any of our military kids already. So that's the big piece. Secondary down the road, if you get to retirement, right? And remember, only about 17% of the people retire. Again, the next stage is now you will get TRICARE for life, but your dental and vision insurance kind of break off, and you will have to enroll under FedVIP for your dental insurance as a retiree for your family. So that's the dental piece. I know you're doing a little part with dental, but military families are covered under their TRICARE dental plan. So that's of less importance, but I can't overemphasize enough the desire to get people to learn more about FedVIP and their eligibility for this comprehensive vision insurance for their families.
Paul and Amy, I wanted to say this is something very sensitive to me when we're talking about this vision care. I'll share briefly our history. Our middle son, we have 5 children, and we've been Amy 34 years of military service. So, but our middle son was born with bilateral congenital cataracts. And we had no idea of other options other than TRICARE. And as a result, he had to have surgery, and then he had to begin wearing contact lenses at about 2 months of age, and continual surgeries throughout his life. He is now almost 24 in October, and he's managing his own, medical care and health care and on eye care. But it was amazing how we continually, each time he needed a new prescription for contacts, and he also needed glasses to wear when he took his contacts out, because when they removed the cataracts, he couldn't see, right? So he needed contact lenses or glasses. And then at some point, eventually for distance, he needed to bifocals. And so it was a juggling act for us for all of those years of his childhood until he became, older, trying to navigate that and coming up with additional money to cover, like TRICARE would cover one or the other. And because of his condition, he fell in the category of durable medical equipment, DME. So they would cover contact lenses or glasses. And, so this is, not to spend too much time talking about it, but I really wish, and I hope that some of our active duty families are listening, because, any number of eye conditions can put you in a category where you need more than what TRICARE may provide, right? And so how do you get that? And knowing there's options like Blue Cross Blue Shield, that we could have actually had a policy, a vision policy, and not have been so stressed continually throughout his life. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a great example, Natalie, of just kind of like the extra care that some of the families need. That's
And then for the spouse, the adult spouse, and even the active duty member, right? So they can get their stuff through TRICARE, right? But there's a lot of preventive screenings that get done. So this just isn't hey, I need glasses because I can't, I turned 40 and I need to read. Like, you can sense heart disease issues, you can sense stroke, right? There's a lot of early prevention you can get through vision exams. Exactly. So that's another thing that we encourage.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And when you mentioned about the retiree, we're on that side after the 34 years. And so it was an eye-opener that, we are, as military families, encouraged to go through the transition classes, but you still just don't get it. Coming from active duty life, transitioning, you just don't get it. And so that was another eye-opener of, now we need to select, right, vision and dental and It's not
Yep.
just covered. So it's been interesting. So I am again super excited about the partnership that we have here. Thank you for your interest in serving the subset of military families. We often are navigating through military life, kind of under the radar as homeschooling families, but definitely health, wellness. These are things that are super important to us. And as homeschoolers, we have the time to make them a priority. We have the freedom and to manage our time to make it a priority. And so I believe that this will be of great anticipation and excitement for our families to participate in this. So thank you.
Yeah.
And Natalie, I'll just to make a point there. So it's so interesting. Like I said, there's a lot of organizations out there. So when you get in this world of community outreach and partnerships, I mean, I could just give so many, but I'd never heard of military. So here I did 31 years in the military. I'd never heard of this, right? I never homeschooled, but it's really good to be able to find organizations where, we get that win-win-win, right? So you
Right.
guys are doing great stuff. We're able to put resources behind it, but ultimately the family member and the military member benefits from the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're always when Linda and I and Rita, who is not on now, but she's our resources manager, when we basically go through a vetting process, of course, Blue Cross Blue Shield, we didn't have to vet much at all because, but at the same time, we want it to be a win-win, and we want to make sure that we're able to partner with organizations who really want to serve the military families.
Yeah.
So thank you again.
Yep. And that's why our Uniform Service Advisory Board is so important, right? These are people, we're you, right? We're like from the community, right? I don't bring just people in that are, I mean,
Right.
yeah, Blue Cross, there's a business side to it, but we're in the business of the giving back piece. That's what I love the most, that I can put money and resources. I can bring USAB, many of who I've served with, and I know personally, we're out there volunteering in the community at a bunch of events. So it's really rewarding work, and it comes from a very authentic place.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I know Linda, we had talked about the desire that Blue Cross Blue Shield has to do an in-person event as well. So I think that's something that we'll possibly continue the partnership and do something in person, because I know, and that was one thing I thought was really great, like you were just saying, Paul, is bringing people together to actually show up. There's one thing for sponsoring and putting a logo right behind, but when you actually boots on the ground and people actually come out, then they get a sense for, you all are really serious about serving. I mean, and I think that's awesome. So I'm really excited about potentially for the future, what that might look like.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely awesome that you guys are willing to volunteer your time to come out and enjoy and serve the community. That's almost unheard of. So I applaud you guys for that.
Yep. And we've got a relationship where I often say like that, like we have all these partners, right? I'm like, hey, that's my swipe left, swipe right group. I got to figure out who, and now we're dating, right? So let's it will evolve, and eventually it works out. And we can get married, right?
Yeah. I love that analogy. That's good.
Oh my goodness. That's good.
So we're going to be rolling this out really, really soon. This is our kickoff for the families that are listening and tuning in later. And this will be available as a replay on all of our platforms. So we'll continue to share it out and make sure families see it, because we know people tune in at varying times throughout the day and week, right? But because it will be available, on our platforms, then they'll be able to tune in. But I'm excited about when we actually start. Did we actually, because I had technical problems, had to come in, did we actually get to that point about like when it's kicking off and all the fine details for our families yet, Linda, or no?
So no, we briefly talked about it. So this week is going to be the big kickoff event. We're going to do it from today through the 12th, and then we will be wrapping up our essay contest on September 22nd. So all the essays, if you want to have your homeschool group have a chance to win this amazing event. Get those essays in by September 22nd. The board will then vote, and the actual event is October 2nd. So
Okay.
it's coming up. It's coming up. It's already, August. Where did that go? I don't know. So
definitely.
Absolutely.
And we're tapping into our leaders too with the event and making sure our leaders, both of you all have served. So I'm technically preaching to the choir, as they say. So, across all 6 branches, you can imagine, right, how many military installations there are. And then I'd say probably at least 80% probably have military homeschool community. And,
Wow.
and so, I mean, we were doing some really brief numbers, and we were almost in 35,000 just with a handful of people, handful of institutions. If you take a number from a potential social media group and you see how many, you can say, okay, well, this is the potential that we have. And so it's amazing to see. So we're excited about that, from Guam to Rota to Oki and to all over Germany. And, it's amazing to serve these families and give them an opportunity. So we're touching direct contact with many of the leaders, because they are the first line, right? If you can reach the leader, then they will share the information down and rally the community. So I'm excited about seeing what this looks like. And this is a new thing, like you mentioned, like Paul, you said you didn't homeschool, and many of us did not, right?
Yep.
And so, this organization this October literally will be 2 years. So we are still in infancy, but it has taken off so quickly, and I'm really thankful for that. And so we are still navigating the space, and the community is still, wow, we have something for us now. I didn't know. So,
and one central location, because like you said, I was aware of homeschoolers when we were on the West Coast, California, and then Hawaii, and it was a big group of them, but they were their own little. They all seemed like they were on their own little island, and even with the internet and all that, this is an amazing platform you've created for everyone to kind of come together under one umbrella. That's wonderful.
Thank you. We're working hard. I have so much support, like Linda, and so Marissa's on, and so many of the board, and they're all military, connected, and some have finished homeschooling. Many are still in the thick of it with kids and babies, and we're making it happen. And so that's what was important, to make sure that majority of our board was us, that lived the life and had the desire and passion to serve our fellow military homeschoolers. And so, it's been great. So
that's
amazing. Got them out.
Amazing.
Been doing without them.
Linda and Natalie, one of the things I was going to say, because I think as a parent listening to this, my first question I think would be, well, when would be the first eye exam? And I did some homework. The American Optometry Association says that infants 6 to 12 should have their first exam. Pre-K would be the first exam to detect any issues. And then 6 to 18 years of age would be an annual exam for eyes for kids. So I thought that was interesting. I have grandkids now, so I'm like, okay, so I need to needle my kids to get my grandkids in there for that. So I think that's a good point of.
Yes, I love that, Amy. When you think about it, typically the mom is making the appointment. The military mom, right, is making the appointment and going, taking child or children to pediatrics, having the, stand in a hallway, cover one eye and see what you can see. But that's so cursory, right? And I can only say that from my experience to know, even though we only had one child, thankfully, that had the diagnosis that he had, but it allowed me to see that, wow, let me take advantage of at least getting this comprehensive vision exam. And so I think that's great what you were saying.
Yep. And that's the big piece of it, right? So those screenings, they're called, those are just very cursory, to your point, right? That will tell you, hey, there's something we're concerned about. There could be something here, but then you got to get handed off to the optometrist. And most of those screenings, when they're younger, your general practitioner's handling those, but then you'll see as they get older, those start to shift towards the optometrist is where those exams are going to happen. And again, you'll find that you'll save, I mean, it's just so much cost savings if you just carry that little bit of insurance, and it's not even that expensive and just enables your family.
It's
Yeah.
really not that expensive, so much so that you really kick yourself for waiting so long.
Yes.
But
Yeah, for lack of information, really, quite
It is.
honestly. So hopefully this will definitely the health and wellness and the Healthy Hero program, but hopefully it will also enlighten a lot of families to realize that this is really very cost friendly for them, and the benefits are, definitely there, so that you have that peace of mind that you are catching anything early enough, because they're able to now have this comprehensive exam that we don't typically get. So
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, we're one of them I mentioned, but there are, when you go under that FEDRA program, you do have choice, right? There are 5 insurers, right? So that's another cool thing about FedVIP. And as you retire, right, you'll have, like, it's not just United Concordia for dental anymore. You get to choose from 12, right? And you get 5 vision insurers, right? So that's the really cool thing that families have now through the FedVIP program.
that's good stuff.
That is good to know, because we are just on the cusp of retirement. So
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I love it. So I think that we have covered a lot, and we don't have any guests on with any questions. Let me make sure. Hold on one second. I need to go to comments and see. Actually, all I see is everything that Marissa has been diligently posting. So thank you so much. There's a lot there in the comments that people can access and get information about. All the links, Linda and Marissa and our social media manager will make sure all the links are available, and that everything is clear. So we want to make sure this is as successful as possible, because it's a great opportunity. So did we have anything else, Linda, that we needed to cover? I'm looking at our notes here. Anything else that Amy and Paul?
No, we're just excited. Like I said, I think this is going to be great. I love the program. I love the linkage to wellness. I'm a remote employee, right? Our office is in DC. I work out of Hampton Roads, Virginia. So I know what it is to be like stuck in a house. Like, I got to make myself go out and be active and walk around and create these routines. So I just see it and I'm like reminded of that. So thank you for the work you guys are doing and what you put together here for the homeschooler community.
absolutely.
Definitely. And we have a lot of swag and all kinds of like fun things and photo challenge, I see, right? Best dressed Healthy Hero costume. So kids love that. And this is great.
Yeah, all kinds of fun things.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today for this conversation. And I cannot wait until we get this thing launched off.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Natalie, thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
So very
Thank
much.
you. And this will be exciting.